Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And some of you probably thought about starting your very own sports podcast. Well, let me help you out. I want to tell you a little bit about Anchor. Now, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's an easy way to make a podcast, and it's free. You don't have to worry about paying a bunch of money each month. There are creation tools to allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so you don't have to worry about that. So it can be heard on apps like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. So go to anchorfm.com and start your very own podcast today. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And I have a special guest with me here on the State of the Saints podcast from NOLA.com. We have Saints reporter Amie Just. Hey, how you doing, Amie?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out. I mean, I know this is an off day for the New Orleans Saints, so we really do appreciate it here in the Who Dat Nation and on the State of the Saints podcast that you took the time out to talk Saints football with us.
Oh, yeah. Once training camp starts, even though the players aren't practicing, it's all day, every day.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about Saints football, but there are some storylines that need to be addressed on yesterday. We know that linebacker Nigel Bradham, the Saints got him from the Philadelphia Eagles. He was actually cut by the New Orleans Saints, and it raised a lot of eyebrows, not only in the Who Dat Nation, but just across the NFL as a whole. So, Amie, the first question I have for you is, why did the Saints decide to release Nigel Bradham?
Yeah, coming into camp, the linebacker room was one of the positions that I had questions about just because of all the injury history with everybody. But through the first week of camp, actually, this is a deep position. Zach Bond running with the ones, which that's always a good sign, right? So Cat Terrell was actually the one who asked Sean about it yesterday after practice, and Sean was straight up about it. He's like, we like the depth of our young guys, and that's that. You know, when I went back and was, going through my notes about rotations of players who were getting in there at the linebacker position during the 11s, I didn't really notice him. I was writing more down about Craig Robertson and Caden Ellis and Bond and guys like that. So he got buried, and, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, I mean, Amie, you're not the only person I've seen say that. I mean, I've seen it several times by other reporters on Twitter saying that, they didn't notice him. They didn't notice him. It's not like he made like a play or a huge splash. And, that's probably one of the reasons why the Saints decided to, cut him. I mean, when you have young guys and you have depth like the Saints have, young sideline to sideline type linebackers and guys that take advantage of the reps. And I also seen a story. I don't know if this, I don't know who actually wrote this, but was it something that Dennis Allen and linebacker coach Mike Hodges didn't see out of him? I heard they say something like they were really trying to push him to, really show them something. So was there any validity behind that? Maybe like when he had the reps, he didn't take advantage of his time on the field.
Yeah, I wasn't in on those interviews, so I'm not sure because when Sean Payton talks and the players talk, those happen at the same time as when the defensive and offensive coaches are talking. So I don't know about that, but I will say that when DeMario has been getting rest, Craig Robertson's been in there. And that is where I would have thought Nigel Bradham would be.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, it's a plus. The Saints have so many young linebackers that can step up. I mean, Zach Bond, who I've heard been doing an outstanding job, the fact that he actually running with the ones, and you have to take into account no OTAs and no mini camp. That goes to show you like the type of player the Saints think they have in him. But before we talk a little bit more about the linebackers, I got to ask you about Johnson Batamosi. He was mostly on special teams everywhere he went, from the New England Patriots. I think he spent some time with the Dolphins. He always did some great things on special teams, and the Saints were really relying on him to actually fill a role on special teams. He came in midseason, did a good job. But there is a void that is missing, in the cornerback room. So is there a possibility that the Saints can go out into free agency and maybe sign another cornerback to replace Batamosi?
Yeah, so you have to feel for him, right? He came in, so he found a niche on special teams when they brought him in midway through the year last year, right, and then went on IR because he hurt his foot in practice. And then he started training camp on PUP, right, passed his physical, and then less than a week later, he's back on IR. Right. I don't know if it's a new injury or a re-aggravation of the old one, but you just feel for it. You just feel for it. Yeah. Like, he was so excited to come back because he re-signed a 1-year deal with the Saints in the offseason. Super excited to come back. Really looking forward to it. Man, you just feel for him. So the Saints, with releasing Nigel Bradham and putting Batamosi on IR, they've got 2 roster spots available. Maybe they signed some guys today. I'm not sure. But at the time of us recording this, they still have 2 roster spots. They did bring 2 guys in for a workout the other day. They were both DBs. I don't remember their names off the top of my head. But based on that, it looks like they are trying to bring somebody in that position. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a guy that's willing to play special teams and do it at a high level, I mean, this is a smart guy. I mean, Johnson Batamosi, I've been watching him since he played for the New England Patriots. And, I mean, he was one of those guys that was part of the cornerback rotation, and he did play on special teams. So he was a good find for the New Orleans Saints to help out on special teams. So I'm hoping that they actually find somebody that can replace the type of production I know Batamosi would have brung this season. But back to the linebackers, we talked a little bit about Zach Bond. He's making a little bit of a transition. Coming from the University of Wisconsin, he was a linebacker, but he mostly played with his hand on the ground. It seems like the Saints are trying to teach him like how to stand up and be a linebacker, more so than just blitzing the quarterback. So how has he been making the adjustment in your opinion? And what are the coaching staff saying about him, as far as his development is concerned?
Yeah, no OTAs, no minicamp obviously hurts the rookies, but so far so good. I mean, if they didn't trust him, he wouldn't be running with the Wands, right? So, of course, there's a learning curve with that. And, he said the other day that he's working on everything because that's what the Saints expect out of their linebackers, to be able to do everything, especially, when the Saints go into nickel. Right. You have to be reliable. Right. To be in whatever position that they ask of you. So, yes, it's a learning curve, but so far so good, at least from my perspective.
I mean, well, I'm just looking forward to seeing him. I mean, I think a lot of people in the Who Dat Nation don't realize, like, how good he was at linebacker. And, I mean, I think according to Pro Football Focus, I've said this several times, he actually ranked higher than some of the linebackers that the Saints fans wanted, like Kenneth Murray, who now plays for the Chargers, and Patrick Queen, I think, who plays for the Baltimore Ravens. So, I mean, he ranked higher than those guys. So he is a smart player, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does, at the linebacker position. But from one person that's, making a transition and to another, and I'm talking Tommy Stevens, the quarterback out of Mississippi State. A lot of people thought that, they thought since Taysom Hill was going to possibly be the successor to Drew Brees, they brought some guy in with the same similar skill set. However, they transitioned him from quarterback to tight end. So how has he been developing in that tight end role?
He's only been playing that position, full time, right, for like a couple weeks. So he's got a lot to learn. But I asked Jared Cook about it, and he kind of laughed. He's like, it's an adjustment, but he's got good hands, and that helps him. He just has to work on his blocking, which he hasn't been asked to do. So of course that's going to be an adjustment, right? It's tricky. You want that's another reason why you want those preseason games, right? You can actually get the game action doing those type of things.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes, but yeah, he's got a lot to learn, but if the Saints didn't think he could do it, they wouldn't put him in that position either.
Yeah. I mean, I think they really see the type of athlete that he is. I didn't watch him that much at Mississippi State, but I seen like in a few plays when he played at Penn State. I seen him in a game a couple of times, and I know he has like great athleticism. I seen him like scramble a couple of times. So I mean, I know that he can do a lot of great things, and I know the Saints feel like if they can get him coached up, I know they feel like they have a diamond in a rough in Tommy Stevens. But let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about the defense. The Saints seem to be clicking, especially in the secondary. Every report that I've read from you all has been talking about how the defense has been getting the best of the offense throughout the training camp so far. So what is it that's different from your perspective is different about the Saints defense going into this training camp? Is it Malcolm Jenkins, or is it maybe something else about the defense, hearing the scrutiny maybe about, them giving up big plays and crucial parts of the game? What is your take on that?
Well, naturally, adding Malcolm Jenkins helps, right?
Yeah.
He's a veteran, 2 Super Bowls. He knows what he's doing. He's a leader, and that just helps, right? And then you have Janoris Jackrabbit Jenkins,
right,
who I can't stop watching. Every time I'm out there, my eyes just naturally gravitate to him. He's always involved and doing some really good things. I think it helps the Saints that he was here for the latter part of last season,
right.
Just giving him more time with chemistry and on the field stuff.
Right.
But, man, that's going to be one tough duo at quarterback with Marshawn and JJ. It's that's going to be fun. And then, C.D. Deuce, formerly known as Chauncey or C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he's a year older now, right? So that also helps. PJ getting that experience at safety when the Saints had 3 injured injured defensive backs last year.
Right.
That helps him because he hadn't played safety in like 10 years, and now we're asking him to do some of that. So that helps, just being more versatile. Marcus is a year older. Everybody just looks good. And then Justin Hardy, he's looking good too. He said for years that he's, he doesn't want to just be a special teams guy. He wants to be a cornerback. He wants to be involved in the DB room. And, even though he's been in the league for a few years, he's showing promise through. Right. So that's always good to see. But yeah, they look deep because they are deep, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean they really look good on paper as far as the talent that they actually have, and I think you hit the nail on the head in my opinion. Also, I think Malcolm Jenkins, I think he helps the secondary tremendously because like you said, he's a seasoned veteran. He's seen it all, he's done it all. And he can also put those younger guys in position, that they can make plays. And I said this on several occasions as well. I feel like P.J. Williams moving to safety was the best decision that he could have made for his career. He's a good nickel corner, but I really feel like sometimes, if he's going up against some of those faster slot receivers, they can get the best of him. So him playing in the safety role, I think he's above average tackler. I know he's better. He's probably like the top 3 tackler, I guess, among in that secondary now. So I think that is going to help him tremendously. I'm looking forward to seeing what the secondary can actually do this season. Let's talk about the defensive line. There's been injuries that have been a part of the defense for the last couple of seasons. We know about Sheldon Rankins and Marcus Davenport. I've been hearing good things about both of those guys in camp. What's different about Marcus Davenport that you've seen from his rookie year in training camp up to going into his 3rd season now? And what about Sheldon Rankins as well? What is your opinion on those two guys?
Yeah, so I covered LSU during Marcus Davenport's rookie year, so I was a little busy watching other people, but he looks good. He, from all accounts, he's 100% ready to go. As for Sheldon, he talked at length the other day about his injury, which usually guys don't do, but Sheldon's just an open book about different things. And so he had some medical disorder. The name of it is escaping me. Haglund's, maybe, I'm not sure. To where you get bone spurs on the backs of your heels to where it pulls the Achilles away from, gross. So I discovered that when he tore his Achilles the first time he tore his Achilles.
Right.
And they were like, yeah, this is probably on your other foot too. Right. And as the season went on last year, he could feel it progressively getting worse to the point where in week 14 against the 49ers, I can't do this anymore. With every step he took, with every explosion he tried to take, he felt like his Achilles was about to rip.
Wow.
And so got that fixed. He said, he hasn't done a ton of research into it, but he believes that this is over now since it's been fixed on both feet, which that's amazing. You forget sometimes just how much pain these guys go through.
Yeah.
But yeah, when he was describing that in vivid detail the other day, I'm just sitting there holding my feet.
Yeah, I'm holding mine right now. I mean, that's but I mean, just the fact that this guy has been through so many things over the last couple seasons, I think a lot of people forget how dominant he can be. There was a stretch, Amie, that you can arguably say he probably was like the third best defensive tackle in all of football. I mean, you got to give respect to Aaron Donald and Fletcher Cox out in Philadelphia, but he was right up there with those guys. I think he had 8 sacks. I'm talking about the 2018 season, right before he tore his Achilles in that divisional round game against the Eagles. So I think a lot of people, they tend to forget, how dominant he can be when he is healthy. And, a lot of people have been asking about, Jadeveon Clowney possibly being signed by the New Orleans Saints, I guess because of the injury history so far with Marcus Davenport. In your honest opinion, do you think that the Saints actually need to go out in free agency and maybe pursue a guy like Jadeveon Clowney, or do you think they'll be okay with the rotation that they have right now?
Do they need to? No, but did the 49ers need to sign 6 different amazing defensive ends? No, but they did anyway. Right. So it's 2020. Nothing surprises me anymore. If they do it, yeah, okay, good for them. But if they don't, that won't surprise me either. I know that's a cop-out answer, but being honest.
I mean, I get it, Amie, but me, I just don't get it. I just don't look. I look at Jadeveon Clowney completely differently from other people. I think a lot of people look at Jadeveon Clowney being that dominant force he was at South Carolina, and he was the first pick overall back in 2014. And I guess, that kind of stuck with him. I mean, I look at a guy never had double-digit sacks. He played on the opposite side of J.J. Watt. I mean, come on, you can't get double-digit sacks over a guy that's probably getting triple teamed. That says a lot to me. And I feel like Marcus Davenport, I feel like sometimes we're in a Who Dat Nation. I mean, we don't have the patience sometimes, and I think this guy has all the tools to be successful. He even said it himself. I heard him say in the interview, he said he wants to be better than Cam Jordan. And for the last couple of years, if you put his stats up against Cam Jordan in the first 2 years, his is better. So I think that we just need to give him an opportunity to grow. And I think he gained 20 pounds. He's bigger. He looks more physical. They're saying he's looking more explosive. So I don't think that it's such a big issue for the Saints to have to go out and possibly get someone. Like you said, everybody's, trying to put themselves in the best position to win. However, I think that the Saints should be okay with what they have. those guys were doing pretty good for those first 5 weeks when Drew Brees was out. So, I mean, those were the same guys that were in the top 10 in defense in the absence of arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. Mm-hmm. But let's talk about the quarterbacks. The last question that I want to ask you is about the quarterback position. Jameis Winston, he comes over from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, threw for over 5,000 yards last season, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. I mean, we heard all the things about Jameis Winston. We know what he can do. Him coming into the Saints organization, I mean, he's saying the right things. To me, he's doing the right things. But as far as practice is concerned, how is he making the adjustment coming into a brand new offense and just a different atmosphere?
Yeah, like you said, it's an adjustment, right? But he looks at home. You know, he is meshing with the guys. You never know how that's going to go when you get a division rival as your teammate now.
Right,
but
right.
They all look to be gelling.
Right.
You know, they're laughing with each other, you know, coaching each other up. It's actually kind of cool to see. But again, it's an adjustment. He's got to learn some things. But, you know, like you said, he threw for 5,000 yards last year.
Yeah.
He threw for 30 interceptions too. But
I can't forget that.
No, but you know, like he said when he signed, like this is New Orleans is like the Harvard of quarterback rooms. So if we can't learn something here,
right. Yeah, it's gonna be hard. It'll be hard for him to learn anywhere else. You know, I think about with Jameis Winston too. I think sometimes he doesn't get a fair shake as far as you know, with the the media is concerned. Sometimes, I think that a lot of people, they look at him and they look at his position. He was another first pick overall, 2015. But I don't think Jameis ever had a running game. I don't think he ever had anything that can complement, his skill set. I think with the Saints, I mean, you have people like Alvin Kamara. You have Latavius Murray. I mean, you have Ty Montgomery, who I hear is doing an outstanding job in training camp. I mean, you finally got a combination of, a mixture of running and a pass, and you got, weapons that could, really complement your skills. And also, like I said, you have arguably the greatest quarterback of all time as your mentor now. So I think that it can help out Jameis Winston. But let's talk about Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, congratulations to him. I mean, having his first child, him and his wife. And, he went back to practice, and Sean Payton even cracked the joke. He said he don't know who had the baby. It was his wife or him. He said he had to clean some things up. But overall, how has Taysom Hill been in training camp so far? What have you seen from him?
He's looked good. He's getting those, number 2 reps behind Drew, at least for now. He looks good. He hasn't been super involved yet at, wide receiver, tight end, insert position here. So is that indicative of what they plan to do with him? I don't know. Does he need to practice at wide receiver? He does a pretty good job. So we'll see how that ends up working out. But so far, so good. Again, he didn't get, at least in my recollection, it's been a long year. He didn't get as many reps at QB last year as this year, at least in my recollection. I could be a little off because he was the number 3 behind Teddy Bridgewater, so they had him more in other things. Right. But yeah, so we'll see if they want to get him more involved in other aspects of the offense later in training camp. But he's making the most of it.
So Amie, he hasn't played at any other position other than quarterback this entire training camp?
Not on offense, no.
Wow. I mean, that's
not now again, we don't go to every practice, right? We don't go to, because they've got walkthroughs and stuff. So maybe they're doing stuff behind closed doors there, but while we've been there, no, it's just been quarterback stuff.
Wow. This is the final question. Who is somebody that you're looking forward to seeing this 2020 season? Who's somebody that you are looking at to possibly, turn a corner, or somebody that you're going to really be looking out for?
Yeah, well, the thing that I've been paying attention to the most is the offensive line. I want to see, who's actually the center, right?
Right.
And then when Pete gets back from his broken thumb, he we haven't talked to him yet because he's been hurt, but I want to know how much weight he's lost. And then I want to know, as the season progresses, how is that going to help him? When he's working off to the side on stuff, he looks faster. He looks better. So I want to know how much him slimming down will help him continue to, get better. I know Saints fans aren't the biggest fan of his.
Not at all. Not at all, Amie.
But my early theory is that it's going to help him. Now, getting hurt again doesn't help him, but that's one thing I'm interested in.
Yeah, I think the offensive line is a huge storyline. It's probably one of the biggest question marks on the team, like you said, between Cesar Ruiz and Eric McCoy, and also with Andrews Pete. Andrews Pete does some good things. I think he's really good when it comes to the screen game. But there are times where I hear this. As far as like people like inboxing me or sending me comments, they talk about his physicality on offensive line. So I would like to see him like step it up just a tad bit in that regard. But I'm not going to say that he's a bad offensive lineman. This is a guy I've been watching since he was at Stanford. He played left tackle, and he did a really good job. And there's one of the reasons why he was a top 15 pick when he came out of Stanford. The Saints really believe in this guy. Not going to sign this guy to a 5-year deal if you didn't. Right. But Amie, thank you so much for your time. We're looking forward to hearing some of your phenomenal questions that you asked to the players, and also some of the articles that you write as well. Being a staff writer for NOLA.com, we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I wrote about Eric McCoy just today. So, spoiler, he does not care where he plays.
and also, one more thing too. Let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, and how they can find some of your articles.
Yeah, so I tweet everything out on my Twitter. That's at Amie_Just, but I spell my name a little weird. It's been on the ticker at the bottom, but it's Amie, AMIE _JUST, like the word.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So y'all make sure that you follow on Twitter and also read the articles on NOLA.com. This is the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, Miss Amie Just. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.